How will AI affect the media? Hey, I'm John Harris and welcome to another episode of Exponential Radio. AI, as we've been discussing, has had an impact on practically every industry. And it's going to have an impact on the media. So how exactly is that going to unfold? And look, why is it important? Well, it's important because it's going to take less human intervention, has obviously become more automated. Where that lands up, I'm not sure. It also means that individuals can actually get into journalism as an entity. The lessons that we learn, I'm going to go through some issues here, and some of the key focus points, should I say, and you can see that perhaps there's something in what we're showing here that you could perhaps become a part of. There may be one of these things, and there may be a lesson in it for you that you can then become part of the digital economy. So, look, moving forward, let's just have a look at some of the main issues. First of all, is personalized content. And within personalized content, the key things are user preferences. So when we're dealing with AI, it has this huge capacity to sort a lot of data, collate it, and make it useful. So it's going to check out behaviors, it's going to check out demographics, it'll check out and curate news, and then what it can do is also design specific articles on those patterns. Obviously videos and ads as well. It's very important that the advertising industry understands the power of AI. The next thing we'll look at is automated content creation. So AI here, what it can do is generate, obviously, the generation of content. And as I mentioned, there'll be less human interaction or less involvement with journalism. Chatbots, and you got basically virtual reporters, and you're going to have AI articles, as you mentioned, and real-time updates and summaries. So these are very important because it can happen instantaneously or practically instantaneously. So this is where the power of AI comes in. It takes teams of people to try and replicate the research and gain this information in a lot of time and effort. And here it's done very rapidly and very, very deeply and over a very broad area. Number three we want to chat about is enhanced recommendation systems. So what it can do is it's become more and more sophisticated, and it's going to become even further sophisticated. So it's going to do accurate and relevant information, which is very important, especially when we're looking at what's happening in the journalistic world at the moment. Look, I'm not saying that some of these algorithms aren't slanted politically left or right, but I think as we get further down the track, hopefully Elon will be able to do something with X and make it more neutral, and therefore it will be less biased. It obviously gives suggestions. It can give suggestions in movies, in TVs. It can look at music, books, obviously articles, and this helps for the end user for discovery, getting things that they personally want. And as I've told you, really, technology always drills down towards the individual. It evens the playing field. It gives you a bigger lever as an individual. And although big organizations are also racing to implement AI, really a lot of it will come down to the end user, because AI in itself isn't limited to the size of corporations. It can do for an individual what it can do for a corporation. So it is very democratizing in that sense. That also will help with the engagement, obviously. If you get things that are relevant to people and that they're interested in, it'll improve the engagement. Next, we want to talk about advanced content analysis. So here we talk about data in media. As I've said, AI handles huge data sets. It can look at text, obviously images, videos. If it's not already done from text to video, it's about to be done, and audio. So it can look at content and can do analysis on that. It can gain deep insights into that analysis, and these are, sentiment. It can understand. It's heading towards understanding the sentiment of what an individual sees in a particular set of data or information or video or text or whatever, and it can see trends. So not just something that's in fashion for a short while, it can also pick up trends and global trends, which is very powerful. Obviously for content, for ads and so forth, this is where it's going to really get very strong. So these are all data-driven decisions, and it takes a huge amount of the work, time, and effort out for teams of individuals, and obviously reduces costs and so forth, and makes it more available to a larger number of people. Augmented and virtual reality. We've heard a lot about AR and VR, so this is going to be very big in media as well, obviously. You're going to have enhanced media with things like gaming, virtual environments. You can even be on tours, different types of tours, avatars, and it's an immersive story. So it's going to create a whole ecosystem of augmented reality, and in media, that's going to be very powerful, as it is in education. Next, we want to talk about automated transcription and translation. So this can, obviously, one of the things it'll put this out to a broader spectrum of population across the globe because of the translation ability, but speech recognition, natural language processes, transcribing audio and video, captions, subtitles, translations, it's going to have things with a broader audience, as I mentioned, and this again is going to give more engagement and more traction. So you can see, even as an individual, this power, there's no way you could be doing translations and things, and even with large teams, it's just very expensive. And there's a lot of people here. This thing's going to be doing this, when I say thing, AI is going to be doing this by itself. So hugely powerful in that respect. The next thing I want to chat about is content moderation. So it'll be able to identify and flag harmful content. Now, this is a bit of a rabbit hole, and I don't really want to go down that deep into this rabbit hole, but obviously there's a huge issue with misinformation, and whether it's political left or right, or what, whether it's warming, whether it's reset, whatever we're talking about, we've got to watch out now for harmful content that is really harmful. And how do we decide that? Very difficult for people now to get the information to decide what is right and wrong. But as I've mentioned, as those algorithms become more neutral, which I think they will do, some will obviously become more left or right, but others will be more neutral, and you better choose platforms where you believe it's more neutral, and that will then, for example, Twitter, we know they've got community doing checks now, as opposed to fact checkers. So that is helping. So I think AI will get more even-handed as to what content is harmful. We already know if it breaks the law, obviously it's harmful. But even with political bias, we've got to look at neutralizing that. So it's safer and more trustworthy, and less human moderators. And that is a big thing, as I've mentioned with you. It's going to happen anyway as far as human intervention is concerned. Lastly, data-driven journalism. Gathering of information, analyzing, gaining patterns, looking at collating different patterns, trends, insights, and verify media, and looking to make reporting, and especially investigative reporting, a lot fairer. Anyway, as usual, you get all the information you need on johnarthurharris.blogspot.com. Those are for any back issues, and hope you have a great day. We'll see you in the next episode.